Welcome, Crowder Gang. Welcome, man. It feels so good to see you, ladies and gentlemen. If your first time here, I am your host, your gracious moderator, speaker, known as King Crowder, as my YouTube handle goes by, social media handle, whatever you want to follow me as. Right now, I'm coming to you with another edition of Live on Sundays. For those that do not know, historically, Sundays have been known as the official start of the new week. The reason why I love to do it on Sunday night is to bring something new to your perspective that'll carry you over. Monday is officially your work day. Some of us do work Sunday, depends on what job you do for a living. But today, I think it's the perfect day to sow them seeds, put something knowledge and new in your ear, talk about things that are going on from a historical and current perspective, and always chop up that good game. Again, y'all, I am your boy King Crowder, the self-proclaimed history guru, trying to learn and navigate this space, giving value, giving information, and teaching you what you never knew. Man, so let's chop it up by myself this week. Always debrief yourself, y'all, at the beginning of the week to focus on what you did. Remember, on Sundays is the period where you self-reflect. We never get taught growing up that you got to self-reflect the previous week. Sunday morning, if you're a spiritual person, pray. If you need athletics or walk around the block, you need time with yourself. Sunday is a perfect time to do all those type of things. Whatever you got to do to recenter yourself, re-gravitate yourself, re-energize yourself, do it on this time. Sundays for me, man, it's been an awesome week if you did not know. Let me do a little humble brag right quick, man. I am a part of a Black male organization in Houston, Texas, the only one in the United States, which is crazy because I checked all over this country. What I mean by that is since the Black Panther Party, since the 1960s prior, tell me a Black male movement where you see mass amounts of Black men getting together, going out, spending time, laughing, joking, building, networking, and grinding with each other. And I want to tell y'all, it's been a steady grind for us, man. Me and we got some other head dogs that have actually been working on it. But this week we actually had my second, third event that I've hosted. But in this event right here, I want to break down, man, the major success story of it is that number one, y'all, we did our first one at a cigar lounge. I'm not really a smoker or anything like that, but it was awesome to find a black business that we can support in the Houston area. So we decided to go to the Four Gents Bar and Lounge on the north side, as they call it in Houston, Texas. And it was an awesome thing that we got to take advantage of, man, because number one, we got to see other business owners. And number two, man, I could actually start to see some of our effects. People are starting to notice what we're doing. Conversation will be brought up. Y'all know I'm loud mouth, like to talk to everybody, right? I have my social media. I'm the same offline. And as I was there, man, the owner approached me because he sees that I'm gravitasing and getting everybody engaged, man. And the brother showed us the best curiosity ever. I mean, we were deep now. We were about 20 deep in this location. So they were all wondering, man, what is up with these group of brothers just in this establishment? And what we said to the guys was, y'all, we do this to support black businesses. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, Mom. We do this to support black businesses. We do this to support each other. And if we don't support each other and what other people got going on, we can't expect nobody else to do it. So we are currently doing it as we speak, y'all. So you will see a lot of times when I speak and when I talk about we should need to support each other. I'm not doing it with my words. I'm doing it with my actions. And one thing I'm a strong believer of, y'all, is demonstration is better than conversation. And the word of my pops, I see better than I hear. So I want to show y'all real time how the event was. I didn't get the best photos, you know, shoot the photographer, it was me. But I want y'all to see what it looks like for professional, educated, all type of men getting together, supporting businesses, getting out, nothing crazy, but just vibing together, spending money where it needs to be in these places, doing it. A lot of the times we hear people talk about it, but it's one thing to show it. And I want to spend this first little bit to show it before we take a deep dive into our topic. So if you have not known, follow me on everything, TikTok, whatever. So I made this video right here. You know what I'm saying? Hold on one second, y'all. It's making me log into something. Oh. So one second, y'all. It's making me do all this system update. Let me share it. All right. It's live. Let's get it. That's the owner. That's the owner again to close out the video, y'all. Man, that short video right there, y'all, I wanted y'all to see in real time brothers that are actually doing the work, actively doing what they say they're going to do, teaching it how it needs to be done in real time. A lot of the times we always hear some people saying what they're doing, what they're going to do. I never want to be that type of person or you to be the type of person to talk about what you're going to do. I want your results to match up with your effort and energy. And the reason why this is so prevalent is as we dive into our topics today, right? We're going to talk about how manhood and womanhood is different, how raising children from a historical and current perspective is different. And also, we must learn to look back on things as we say the period of reflection. We're going to dive on why it is so key to make sure that we demonstrate with our actions more than our words. If you are new to the channel, comment, like, and subscribe. King Crowder all day. So let's dive in. Number one, y'all, raising children from a historical perspective has always been different. For those that do not know, A lot of our modern societies that we currently have, our age system, what we feel about children working, how we operate is all new. Most people have no concept that it was very common 100 years ago, let's give it 2 generations ago, for you to be working actively as a child. It was very few times growing up where you had sparingly free time as we have today. A lot of the time that we see in our current perspective that we see is that when our roles in life come up, it's because everything is literally being changed. Historically, when you reached a certain age, let's say the age of 10, you worked in your families, in your father's motherly business. You had to actively participate, whether it was on a farm, whether it was in your community, whether it was at your dad's shop. It was very few times, even as a child, that you would have free and downtime. It was taught early on as you were being raised up. Men provide, give leadership, make the money for the family. Women lead the family, lead the culture, cultivate. Marriage and union was a part of the culture. We got to understand whenever we talk about things from a historical perspective, you must understand that there's a rubric to it. There is. Every historical measure on how genders, how families operate, there is a historical measure that we've seen thousands of years what are successful. Not saying that most of the new things we see cannot be successful, but we must understand that we are really in the age of trial and error. We are literally in the age of trying new things, seeing what works, erasing what doesn't work, modifying, building new terms, figuring out new words, and learning how to adjust to them. If you look at growing up, I'm going to start with focusing on young men. You had to learn a fighting skill. You had to learn a craftsman skill. You had to learn how to defend and hunt. You had to learn how to survive and replace. You had to learn how to be more handy than there are in previous generations. If you look at women, there was always a domesticated, there was also a family unit, a planning, or a preparation period. Right now, one of the biggest issues I've seen as somebody that's worked in education, been in education, right, is that we teach them the same, which is nothing wrong with them teaching them on the surface level, same skills, same unity. But what we are having an issue with currently in our modern society is that we don't refine in their primitive years how society and everything will treat them differently. Young men know as early as high school, I do not get the same amount of benefits that women get. Young women notice early as high school, maybe even middle school, I have privileges that some young men do not. We do not teach how these privileges work, what they should be doing, and how they are expected to be. I do understand the notion that the school's job is not to teach family motives, attitude, and perspective. I agree with that. It is not 100% jobs on the faculty and staff to do. That is an unreasonable ask. However, I do believe that it should be sort of a mutual agreement of understanding about life skills. There is literally nothing taught about life, how to handle this new economy, how to handle emotional issues, how to talk when you're frustrated, how to handle confrontational situation. There is literally nothing taught for most of these children these days how to do that. We spend so much time focusing on things that matter in their adulthood, which is important, but we don't focus enough on the old school standards. What do I mean by that? We don't teach them the value of kindness. We do not teach children nowadays the value of kindness. We don't teach them to be respectful of people they don't know. We don't teach them to say no, sir, yes, sir. We don't teach them to say, I appreciate you and thank you for doing that. We don't. When a child does that most of the time, currently you are shocked that they do. When was the last time you had a child unapologetically tell you, thank you, sir? Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that. It is so uncommon to see the basic standards of how to be a kind person being taught in schools that it's rare. It's rare to see children with a super solid foundation. Now, I do understand that we had COVID. We've had a lot of catastrophic things that have happened in their lifetime. But currently, this current crop of young adults do have a lot of hurdles that most generations don't have. The hurdles come from social anxiety, the lack of knowing what is to be expected in gender roles, the lack of what's to be expected in the professional and work setting, the inability to handle conflict when it arises to them, the inability to how to talk to a boss, a subordinate, someone that cannot do nothing for you. And I'm going to tell you where it is so prevalent the most, in my personal opinion. I am from a smaller city in Virginia, from Virginia, a small country town. You can say where most of my ethnic roots come from. I was raised in a large family, in a small city, where we had to rely on our social skills, our understanding, how we communicate with people, emotionally speaking. The one biggest gap that we see so much, even among adults, y'all, I'm not going to limit it amongst children. We see men and women who do not know how to emotionally communicate. They do not know how to satisfy and say what they need. They do not know how to satisfy what they want. They do not know how to vocalize what they need and want. And they do not know how to say it from multiple perspectives. We say things such as, this is what I feel, so it's the truth. We don't say, hey, the truth has no feelings attached. We don't say that perspective that I'm in right now may change in 5+ years. We don't say that even though I may be wrong in this moment, let me have compassion for that person and what they're going through at this time. We don't. We have literally merged everything together, taught everybody to think the certain same type of way, that everybody deserves a certain type of standard, that we have not individualized ourselves to understand, hey, some of those classic ways, I don't want to call them old schools, those classic mindsets really need to be reestablished. They do. I really believe, y'all, if we really taught compassion in school systems, in colleges, we will see 90% of the problems go away. We will. There is very few times in life right now that we teach that. We teach now, if something doesn't go my way in the relationship, if something doesn't go the way I like in that situation. I'm going to give you a great example right now. I'm going to give a celebrity example, right? Naomi Osaka, the famous tennis player, and her child's father, Cordell, are in an active relationship, right? They have a child together, which is an amazing thing that them two adults have that. While having a child together, they have had relationship problems like all couples do. In the midst of having those relationship problems, and they're going through a little bit of trial and error, instead of trying to build and last for each other for the longevity of the child, you chose to throw the relationship away. You may have relationship problems. Me and my wife have relationship problems, y'all. It should never be that important that you go about it publicly. No matter what I'm going through, y'all, my wife is the best woman in the world. I will never say publicly what her shortcomings are. Why would I say that? Even though I may have a problem or an issue, that is something that we discuss together. That is something that we got to figure out and work on in our own time. It ain't gonna never be perfect. Perfection is unreasonable. That should be a gender dynamic that we should be taught early on. We should know, hey man, relationships ain't gonna work sometimes. That means we still got to work on it. We can't throw it away, especially when we got children, family, resources, houses tied into all of this. We made a long-term investment. We did. We made a long-term investment by a decision-making we made. And that decision-making has been had. We cannot continue to perpetuate those bad standards that we speak about. Because if we do, and we have those bad things tend to happen, how do you think we're going to grow from it? How? It cannot, it will not work. Gender roles to be broken down generally, but what the woman is expected to do, what the man is expected to do. We got the historical framework, but in the current framework right now, do you think there is a breakdown of what is it expected for a man and woman in a relationship? No, there isn't one. It is what I need from you, what is expected. Is there a conversation about it? Is there I'm going to sit down with you and this is what I need from you. This is what you need from me. Can you feel my needs? Can you water me like I need to be watered? Can you love me like I need to be loved? Can you meet my needs when I need to be had? Can you love me and talk to me when I'm down or when I'm sad? Can you pour into me and let me know that I'm working and I'm trying? Can I normalize my efforts? And can you reward my efforts in the way I needed to be rewarded? You know what the one phenomenal thing my wife taught me early on, y'all? I'm going to give her credit. I am a buy you, show my expression type of love. She's like, boo, I'm cool with a coffee shop and tell me you appreciate me. I had to think about why. Now I'm thinking, man, show everybody that you love me. But she's not like that. She said, love me daily and with your actions. A feet rub, an intimate setting with each other. It kind of trips me out, because mentally I'm thinking what I need, but you can't think about what you need. You have to become selfless as best as you can. Now, I'm not going to say it needs to be perfect, but I'm saying it is a goal that you should try to reach and aim for. And once that selfless interpretation gets in you, your roles will be amplified. Now, most of the roles I have spoken on are from a Christian, Judeo-Christian belief system, but I love to give the Black interpretation of it. The reason why I think it's such a big deal, because we got to understand throughout history, many of these milestones that we currently see are very new. Let's go ahead and break down one concept that most people have no idea is new, and I want to break it down to you. Did you know the concept of a teenager did not exist prior to the 1920s? The 1920 stage of life of teenagerism was developed. There was no such thing as teenager, young adult. It was literally child and then working adult. So when you turn the age of 13, you begin to work as a man and woman should. That is why early on historical context, we saw marriages at the age of 15, 16, 18, where you would actually go meet, marry, and start your family life. I do believe socially, we have changed ourselves so much that it will be very difficult to have that same standard that we had almost 100 years ago. But I do believe some of the principles they had about why men and women need to work and figure out their mindset was to change that and give a years to grow. But what we did not expect from that is that while we gave teenagers a delayed years, we gave some adults some time to grow. What we did not realize is that we created a new concept, right? And that new concept is called arrested development. Arrested development is a term. Let's go ahead and break it down. It is a term used from an abnormal state of development that is stopped permanently. It is a fixation, a regression, abnormal physical conditioning that shows in defects and deficiency. The best current example I can give for this, y'all, I'm going to use a music example again because I love music, be around it. The artist known as Drake. Drake is a 37-year-old male, right? And one of the heavy conversations has been brought up is that why is Drake still currently making younger people music? He is a 37-year-old male. Why hasn't he pivoted and transitioned towards his older audience? Is he currently in a state of arrested development, chasing his youth, chasing what he once was, afraid to grow, afraid to develop? As we see in most teenagers, quote unquote, we see most men saying, I'm a teenager and I live with my mother, even though I have the opportunity to go. I'm a young lady and I'm still young. I can date, but I have time to do. Let me figure this out. Is all of this right now a stage of arrested development? Do we realize that the cause was giving people time to grow? But one of the effects we did not predict was arrested development will become much more rampant. We have people that will literally be in college for 10, 12 years, post high school. Now, that could be, if you're becoming a doctor, clap it up. But if you are 12 years undergraduate and you don't have a solidification about where you want to be or what you're doing, you are in arrested development. You are. I'm not saying that you cannot still pursue it and get it. But what I'm saying right now is that you have benefits to think that you have stopped somewhere mentally. You should not be constantly chasing the same goal without something being done. Right now, we have a society that lets you do that. But 100 years ago, if you didn't work, you didn't eat. There was no welfare system. There was no way to pick people up. There was no way to seek benefits from the government if you did not have. All of these things are so new, most people have no idea how new they are. So, as we begin to see ourselves being delayed, as we begin to see our gender roles not being taught, as we've been seeing teenage years expanding, as we begin to see youthhood wanting to be championed so much, what we have seen as a lasting effect of it, again, is we've seen a longer force of arrested development. So what we must learn right now is that we must overcorrect ourselves now. This is my proposal. Listen to me. The history guru, the God, says, I think we need an overcorrection. The only way to stop a car, y'all, you got to pump the brake. Pump it, pump it, pump it, pump it, pump it. You can't stop it immediately. The car tip over, right? Everything in motion must stay in motion. But as you tap your brakes, as you continue going your car, if you're speeding fast, you slow it down. Right now, we need to pump the brakes and we need to start small. We need to start small with our foundational steps. Let's start small with being a hard worker, being a man and woman of character, honoring your mother and your father, building a loving home, trying to have a family that will love you because society is made for families, teaching that the roles of society and what's going to be expected of you, telling you the truth, not pandering to your feelings, and making sure you are aware of how harsh this world is. Those are my 8 components. I want to start with how we can start to make progress in this current society. Our foundation steps are the weakest they've ever been. We see it. We see a weak foundation because we be seeing all type of behavior being accepted that was not accepted 100 years ago. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not trying to be the person to say, you shouldn't do this. That's not my style, right? But I will say, if it does not serve you from a 3 to 4 year process, you should think about that. You should. You should think about it in a long-term perspective, because one thing about the internet, y'all, it ain't never going away. It ain't. Everything that you post online, everything that you say, I'm going to tell you how cold the game is, y'all, from behind the camera. If you go for a corporate job right now, they type in cuss words, $, and cuss words on all your social media to see if you said something. Real story. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, any comment, anything you've saying, they will type in $, the cuss words, or political statements to see what you've said. You heard it from me first. So you must understand that now you have to be extra cautious what you say, what you do, how you post, what you say openly, because they will have lingering effects that weren't there 100 years ago. They just weren't. Now, we understand these modems are new. We are still learning, and there is a curve to it, right? If you did something back in college, as long as it wasn't too crazy, we'll let you go, right? If you ever check on my channel, you'll see something called the University of Vermont campus. They actually had an open picture and open concerts with blackface. It was called a minstrel show, and it was to show how Native Black Americans in this country were depicted. They would show them with big old lips, and these minstrel shows had governors, cabinet members, people in Congress, and actual photos still on this campus. Did you know that these activities were done all across the United States and campuses all across the United States? They're cringeworthy when you look back at them, right? But at that current time, it was a social norm. What you have to understand is that things that you do right now, music that you listen to right now, may be accepted currently, but 5 years, 10 years from now, it'll be cringeworthy too. So you have to position yourself mentally to be there. Now, I know it's something that things that, most of us don't hear very often or know about, but I'm going to tell you more than anyone that you need to mentally put yourself in that space, that job, that career field, and that path before you get it. Because once you're there mentally and you're elevating yourself already, your roles and how you get down that path will impact you greatly. Man, I'm almost at that halfway mark, man. Always at this time, y'all, I like to get to the 30-minute marker. Take a quick break so we can reconvene. So what I'm going to do right now is I want everybody, again, smash a like button, comment, do everything. I'm going to take a quick break, make sure I get my thoughts back, gathered back in, because I want to come back heavy with you. And this time, I want to go more personal. I want to go into personal subjects, dive into how gender roles can hurt you and hinder you long term. I want to use myself, my personal life, and my family, my upbringing to show and describe to you why that happens. I believe going into the results, not only just talking, but demonstrating with my actions. King Crowder is not a person that's going to talk to you. I want to show you because I do believe everyone sees better than they hear. All right, so I'm going to get back to these tunes. I'm going to play this music. Make sure you stay tuned. I'll be back. Taking a break right about now. What it do, y'all? Back again. Thank y'all for sticking with me through that break, y'all. Again, if you watching this on the playback, let me know. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe to the channel. King Crowder back again with another edition of Live on Sundays. Let's dive into this, man, on this topic about gender roles, how they've affected us, and what things we see coming up in this life, man. And as we've already discussed, I believe that the foundation that we teach right now is very weak. I do believe that the reason why we have a lot of problems we have in this country, right, in the United States of America, is because we don't refine our foundations as we should. You know, we hit the buzzwords, we talk into how we're going to have this, but we never talk about the components it takes to get to these certain things. And I'm going to build onto it because I want to take down some of these buzzwords that we hear all the time, y'all, and I want to break them apart. I'm a big component of making it simple. You know, I'm not a genius by any stretch of the imagination. My wife is a genius, y'all. I've always been taught, y'all, to be a genius, you can go from A to E without B, C, and D. I need A, B, C, D, and E. I need to be broken down. I need it to be simplified, concrete evidence in which I can get the information, then I can grasp it myself. So, as we continue to go, I want to go personal, y'all. I come from a blue collar small town family, right? And in that blue collar small town families, I didn't know or realize that I was being taught gender roles at a young age. First step in order to being taught gender roles. My father never let us sleep in, right? My mother as well. She always made sure that we worked, that we had to clean, that we had to do everything to make sure our house was well kept. The little steps that I had to do growing up, I'm going to give you a great example. Every Saturday morning, most kids dream about sleeping in, eating, all of that. I never got to do that growing up. Never. I don't remember one Saturday that I got to sleep in till like 9. No. 7 a.m. we had to be up. Pops could have a side job. He could have an activity. We got to cut the grass. We got to paint. It's something that needed to be done. What I didn't realize at the time was that he was instilling work ethic. Now, it may sound crazy to say, man, how does it instill work ethic? He instilled in us that as a man, you must work and provide for your family. And to this day, out of all my friends, colleagues, I've always been told that I have a phenomenal work ethic. I've always been told that. I'm a bit more educated than some people in my family, but I believe our work ethic is the same. Literally, I have that Crowder work ethic, showing up on time, being a man of integrity, being early, never can be late. That was given to me by my parents. I can still to this day, y'all, if I say I'm going to call my dad at a certain time and I don't call him at that time or go see him at that time, do you know he'll get in my face? Yes. He'll get nose to nose, forehead to forehead. And he'll say to you, you told me you was going to be here at this time. Why weren't you here? Now, to me, I definitely think it'd be an overreaction, right? But in reality, I gave my word. I gave my word. I made the commitment and said I was going to be at this place at a certain time. He didn't say that. I said it. I said a formal agreement. I'm going to be here and show here at this certain time. That means I got to do it. Now, we can't say emergencies don't happen, y'all. I get that. But unless an emergency happens, as a man, you need to be there. You need to be there. You need to be respectful. You need to be prepared. You need to be mentally ready to go. It may have seemed like such a small, minute detail, but I can say that path that he was given to me from my parents has helped me shot it everywhere in my life. Literally. The showing up on time, the being mentally prepared, the being ready to go, that was all given to me. I didn't have to earn it. Step 2, that was given to me by my parents that I didn't think was a big deal. But I understand more now, especially living in bigger cities. Being a man or woman of your word. If I say I can't do something, y'all, you know. You don't realize how big of a deal it is, but people will go around saying they're going to do something and they don't do it. Living in a bigger city like Houston, I've learned that when I say I'm going to do something, it's good as done. You don't have to follow up with me. You don't have to ask with me. It's done. I was raised that way, y'all. Maybe it could be the country, small town living. But if I tell you that I'm going to be at your house at 2 p.m. to mow your grass, at 1:30, I'm outside. I'm outside. People think that's, oh man, that's old school, but it will put you so much further ahead, ladies and gentlemen. These foundational steps in which you instill in your children will stick with them. Nothing that I have on my own that I get the most compliments from, my social skills, my personability, my showing up, my communication, all of that was given to me by the Crowders. It was given to me by them. None of that is me. Now, I remixed it and made it my own, but the living with my siblings early on, the never having my personal stage, the always sharing made me resourceful, made me understanding, and made me be more cooperative and understanding with circumstances. The biggest thing that I see now is that most people do not know how to handle discomfort things happening in life. If they get a moment of discomfort, situation changes. I had to live with discomfort. I had a brother that sometimes we would have to share clothes with. Bro, you wear that t-shirt Tuesday, I'm gonna wear it Wednesday. I had to figure out how to be resourceful with the few things that we got towards each other. I had to figure it out. If Big Bro had something and I wanted to wear it, Warren would let me honor and wear it all. I got to wear it because he told me to. Now, at the time, and still currently, I don't think it's a big deal of it. It's just how I'm wired. I'm wired to say, man, figure it out. Get it done. I don't care about being right. I want to get it right and make sure everything works smooth together. And it sounds cliche, like, man, all this stuff is formalities. But I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, those foundational steps in how I was taught is so much missing, especially in our larger cities. It is. As somebody that moved here, came from a smaller city, that told me that the big city was tough and it was a certain mentality, the small town kids will run them around in circles because they had to do and overcome more. You may not realize it now because you're in the thick of your dreams or your journey or whatever you're trying to do. But I'm telling you, once you get to these other places, you'll see the gaps. I see them. I'm aware of them. I'm shocked by them. But all of these gaps were made up from my parents, from my family. And that is the true essence of generational wealth. Whenever we refer to generational wealth, we refer to money, right? Which is true. Let's Google about definition. Generational wealth is the transfers of assets, investment, real estate, anything that has financial value that passes down from one generation to the next. This is monetary generational wealth, which is extremely important. What I want to ask from you is make sure you get spiritual generational wealth, mental generational wealth, work habits generational wealth, influential habit generational wealth. We spend so much time worrying about the assets part. We forget about those other components that are going to matter. My parents could never really give me money long term, y'all. They couldn't afford to. I had a lot of kids, a lot of siblings, a lot of brothers and sisters. I get it. But the skills that they gave me, I can't put a price tag on that. The husband that they made me, I can't put a price tag on that. The father that they made me, I can't put a value on that. I can't. I cannot put a value on what my dad did in his time to instill those proper steps into me. I can't. I cannot put a value on my mother teaching me to listen and comprehend the subjects even when I don't like what I'm hearing. I can't put a price tag on that. I can't. If you can put a price tag on what your parents did for you, you're missing a lot of the message that they taught you. And right now, we always refer to something of value as monetary, which sometimes it is. I am never going to overshadow that point. Money matters. I am not the money don't matter guy. Bull job, money matters a lot. But you know what else matters? Generational love, generational habits, generational traumas being talked about, communicating what happened, being open about the things that happened to you in your life, being vulnerable enough to talk and have conversations, willing to call somebody and apologize, Learning that the roles we had in our family still need to be followed in ways. Learn that the biggest way that you can keep this wealth going is by having a family, specifically a black family. You know, I'm a black man, so I'm pro-black families. By having that, what is the benefit from you from being a rich individual yourself? Nothing. Nothing. If you really want to pass that down, be wealth in general, have you a family to pass it down to. Invest in a spouse, a partner, whatever, and invest that too. Because this society that we live in, gender roles still affects us. I want y'all to understand, till this day, this world is not made for single people. It's not. As I've gotten older and seen it myself, y'all, it ain't. This world ain't meant for people that don't have relationships and spouses as you get older. You need somebody. You need somebody to partner with to help you along this journey. Spiritually, emotionally, physically, whatever, financially. You need it. In this current climate we in, if you have one income, I know you're struggling. We doing all right, but we ain't rich. By any sense of imagination. This YouTube money ain't hit yet. I wanted to hit one day. Praise God. Hopefully it hit from it. But it ain't nowhere near hitting yet. But we're fine because we are working professionals. And I get that, right? I'm not saying I need the money now. I want to keep refine my skills to get there. God willing, I get there one day. But the reason why this is so important, y'all, is that we don't teach the wonderful assets of having a family. And what I want to do right now, y'all, I want to show y'all visual representation on why having a family matters. You don't have to be a religious person. You don't have to be a Christian, whatever. But seeing this type of stuff, y'all, will help you understand why it matters so much. So this gentleman right here is a pastor, and he's talking about raising godly children. Remember, chew the fat, spit out the bones. Let's take a listen.
Time they're 5, you're going to have major problems when they turn 15.
Tips for raising godly kids.
Proverbs 13:24. He who spares his rod hates his son, but he who loves him disciplines him promptly. We don't count to 3. 1, Johnny, do it. Don't make me count to 3. Their boss ain't going to count to 3 before they fire them. There is no such thing in any house as good cop, bad cop. Meaning there's not a parent that disciplines and another one that hugs. If the dad disciplines, then the dad gets to comfort. Never discipline your kids in anger. However you decide to discipline your kids in your house, be consistent in it. So if you're a timeout family, cool. Just make sure that the timeouts are consistent. If you're a grounding family, cool. Don't be wavering in your discipline. Do it promptly and do it consistently. Here's another one. Never match your kids' emotions. They are 4 years old. They're supposed to act like they're 4 years old. You're not. Remember this, that no is a gift. The greatest gifts that you can give your kids is rules.
Man, that was powerful. That was truly powerful. You know, it's kind of crazy, man. I just remember myself in life going through things, and I remember my parents and them telling me no, and I used to complain about that stuff, y'all. I did. You know, they always say, when you get older, you gonna remember one day. They ain't lie. They did. Because as a man's life, your life really don't start till you around 29, 30. A woman's life starts when she get 18 because she has more options and abilities. So our journey along the way is much different. But what you learn is that the no's, the shooting you down helps you. And people always give you that side eye look like, man, this dude crazy. What are you talking about? Hearing no helps you. It does. Because as I am, like I said, y'all, the kid that was from the other side, meaning I was a kid that parents struggled. I was the kids that parents didn't have a lot. Most of the kids that parents had way more than my parents did aren't doing that great. Not throwing shade at them. Some of them were supposed to be doing way better than others and they've underachieved. It's facts. It's facts. It's facts. If you are struggling now and you are a kid that is struggling now, you are more beneficial. Why do you mean that? Man, King Carter, what you talking about more benefited? You are. Because you are more likely to handle adjustments and resources that be changed more than the kid that hasn't. You're already battle tested. you are already entrepreneur ready. If somebody's blowing up in a blessed home where the parents take care of everything, they're going to struggle in their world. Yes, they will. Yes, they will. You will struggle because your parents make it easier for you. I didn't say easy. I said easier for you. When you get out in this real world, y'all, competency is the only thing that matters. Are you good or are you not? Do you get the results done? I don't care about your father, your family members, where you went to school. None of that matters when you get inside this world, y'all. I'm an educated master's degree guy, smart, trying to be a doctor one day. But when you get in this world, actually out here, and you have to do everything you have to do. What's up, man? You have to do everything you have to do to gain your work and learn. You got to understand that you got to put your hard hat on, your boots on, your strap on, your chin strap. Be ready to work. Because in this world, you have to overproduce and do much. Nobody's going to tell you that you should be blessed. Ain't nobody going to tell you that. I'm the only one that's going to tell you the truth straight off the gap. You got to produce yourself, man. You got to work. You got to give. You got to do. You are so much blessed if you don't have something compared to the people that have more than you, because you are more likely to handle change better than they can. And you may not be able to see it now, but trust me, y'all, you have to learn to use it to your benefit. And once you learn to use it to your benefit, once you learn to enhance yourself and your abilities, then you will see your life start to change. Like I tell all my babies, kids, students, whatever, life doesn't change, y'all. I want your mind. I don't want your body. I don't want none of that. I want your mind. Because mentally, when you get in that place where you are learning and developing and growing, everything else gonna change for you. Everybody say, I gotta move out of town. I gotta leave this city, man. I gotta leave my hometown. No. Move your mind, baby. Before I had any chance to travel, get on planes, do anything like that, y'all know I visually saw it. I visually saw Las Vegas years before I went. I saw LA years before I went. I saw myself being on the airplane year before I went. My parents didn't have no money to take me on the airplane. I got a lot of siblings. I didn't have no money to get on no airplane, nothing like that. I was out of the budget. I wasn't even a part of the budget. But as they gave me the gifts to read, to study, to learn, I had to figure it out on my own. I did. But I didn't know that they were teaching me the steps to make me a lasting adult. And those steps, man, you can't buy them. You can't fake them. You can't front them. You got to be that way on your own. And once you begin to get your life going that way, then you will see the changes begin to happen. I'm going to give you historical context, y'all, right quick. Look at all of our successful people. All of them. History, currently, whatever. If they are successful by building themselves up, they usually come from a traumatic, disruptive, or chaotic home. Look it up. Most people that have overachieved and done super things in their life have had to invest in themselves heavily to figure these things out. Look at our trailblazers, our innovators, our historical figures, our inventors of this country, the formerly enslaved that built many things we do have. Comment, like, subscribe to the channel, y'all. Don't forget, the people that really invested and did things to this country to make it the way it is. If you look at their background, it was traumatic. It was tragic. It was tragedy. It was. Those hardships make you who you are. Now, right now, I want to give you an example of real time on how generational wealth is explained. And I want to give you an example of somebody that has generational wealth currently, how it actually works. So let's go ahead and break it down. Watch the video.
So if I passed away today, my daughter would get about $30 million. It's a bad look for a 15-year-old. So I've got trusts in place that dictate how that money is spent. When I pass away, instead of her getting $30 million, it's trickled down to her, and the money has to go into a properly structured policy. So think about that. Death benefits are tax-free. So the money is tax-free going to her into a policy that grows tax-free. And then it's trickled down from the trust. When she passes away, it has to do the exact same thing to her heirs. So my family will just get wealthier and wealthier and wealthier tax-free generation after generation because of how I set the trust and the life insurance up. So
he said a lot right there, right? And I know some people aren't money people. Some people are not really into how things work. But I want you to catch something. He said, my family will be taught that they have this, but while alone they go to it, and when death happens, it will be resources set in place to pass it down. I want you to pay attention. He already has his family solidified. His family is set. Whatever family structure that your family needs, I'm not telling you what type of family. I'm saying having a complete family matters. All this, I'm going to have the wealth and all that without having a family structure. It ain't going to work. It ain't going to work. You need that backing. You need that love. You need that understanding. You need that back rub when you're tired. You need that compassion when you don't feel like it. You need that uplifting energy. As you age, there are some outliers that have done extremely well as single men and women, but it is not the majority. Relationships control the world, y'all. Friendships, marriages, everything like that controls the world. There is a cap. Corporate America, real life experiences you can get to if you do not have that family relationship structure. A man, there is a cap. A woman, you have to overachieve, overproduce if you want to get there. I know we hear it about this new modern society, we're knocking down doors, but it's not right now. Now, it is not as taboo as it once was to be not married in some of these positions, but people still ask. They do. I've gotten more benefits from being a married man compared to when I was single. I have gotten people talk to me and say, you're married, it's a safer hire compared to the single guy. And I say, why do you say that? Because the single guy's going to want to go out, drink, do things like that. Well, you're more likely not want to do those things. You're like, dang, I really don't now. I do have somebody I talk to, I have to check in with. So those habits that I once had, I really don't have a desire to do. It's true. 2 + 2 is 4. I'm just saying what it is. And you begin to understand why they have those things aligned in place. And at one point in time, it doesn't make sense. But as you age and you grow along your journey, you will see the rules placed in place are meant to benefit you. What I gave you just now, y'all, is a blueprint. I gave you the historical measures. What can happen is what you don't change. Now I want to give you an example of when you successfully begin your process. We have our gender roles as men and women, right? I'm not going to dive into heavily what you are expected or what you should know. But what you should know as a conclusion statement, I want you to understand and wrap up on it. You should know as a woman, you will be judged and treated differently. If you are a married woman, you will have a different level of elevated status in this world amongst the whole world if you are a married woman, based off the man you chose when you got married and your family status. As a man, if you are a earning, trying to get better type of guy, you will be judged differently on your earning capacity, what you're doing as far as your life, is your profession adding value to this world, your communication skills. Do men value and need you? That is a gender role that you can expect. I can say for me personally, y'all, I feel like my status in real time is being elevated. I am a younger male, but I do understand my social skills, my dynamic in my community. The things that I'm doing is elevating my status, which will elevate my wife's status long term. I do see that and I understand that. What you have to understand is that you will have the same barriers. Step 1, know what you want. Most of us want companionship in marriage, 90% of us. If you want that, try your best to get it young. It is nothing worse than trying to be out here older and dating. Nobody's going to tell you that, but I'm going to tell you the truth. Number 2, learn sure your foundation steps are solidified. You will never be healed from stuff that happened to you. What you can try to do is be as healthy as you can. That means working on yourself. That means reading. That means taking your therapy. That means getting your outlets refined. Whatever you got to do to try to get as healthy you can so you produce healthy children, healthy lifestyle, and healthy long-term effects. Number 3, generational wealth goes beyond finances. My parents could never afford to give me the finance generational wealth, but they gave me the resources, the mental, the spiritual, the components to make me a healthy person that I am today. Number 4, being vulnerable enough to discuss what limitations you might have had and how you can correct them. I didn't have a lot of money growing up, right? We know this. I'll like to point out that my parents did all they could to do what they could, but I had to learn how to figure out ways to get produced and get money on my own due to my own, things I may suffer from not having money. So I had to think of ways to make extra money, to get extra income, to build, to gather. I had to internally decide to do that. I had to. And now that I've figured out ways to earn, to do, I don't have those type of ideas about surviving as I was a generation ago I might have. I had to figure that out. You take that journey of what you have to figure to your struggles, your anxiety, and you figure that out, you are becoming better, a healthy person. Number 5, once you are a healthy person that has figured out your ways, your struggles, your battles, then you can begin the children process. Because remember, this is when you wash your hands, rinse, and repeat. Repeating these healthy steps, making healthy offspring, producing healthy results will produce more healthy generational roles. I know this dynamic was tough. I gave a detailed overview, but I want you to learn healthy dynamics produce it. If you did not have a healthy family growing up, make sure a healthy family comes from you. If you felt like you were not supported growing up, make sure that you support people like you wanted to support for you. If any shortcoming was not received, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you give it so they can come from you. King Crowder, man, I want to let you know to end on a positive note always, and that this live right here was to shed light about our foundation and what it takes to be successful from multiple point of views. I'm not going to sit right here and tell you what you need to do concretely, but what I'm here to do is give you a reflective view, right? Nobody tends to look over their shoulders and give an honest feedback assessment. I do it every Sunday morning. I look over for the past 7 days. I've been doing it for the past 2 years. What I'm doing on these live is looking over my shoulder from a long-term view and giving you the game that I wish somebody would have gave me. Spend this time. Add what you can to your personal life repertoire. Use what you can to make yourself successful. But please make sure you add some of these things to your list because you will need it to become a better and good person. It's your boy, King Crowder, back again with another edition of Live on Sundays. If you're watching this on the playback, make sure you comment, like, and subscribe to the channel. Thank everybody that got to dive in right now. Let me look at my comments before I go. Shout out to Mama. I love you too. Shout out to one of my students, D.E. Nano. I can't tell who it is. Drop your name next time. Let me know who you are, baby. I appreciate you. Mr. Crowder said, what up? I said it back. Shout out to y'all. I love y'all. Make sure you enjoy your week. Enjoy your football, your sports. Call your family members. Call your people. Call your friends. Tell them you love them. Let them know that Mr. Crowder loves them too. Let them know that King Crowder loves them too. Please make sure you understand we ain't coming back, baby. Live life to the best of your ability. Make sure you make long and lasting memories. And make sure you enjoy your Halloween. It's your boy. Checking out. Until next time. Peace. Go. Motorcycle. What's that? What's that? Watch out. Tracking. I just learned it this week, y'all. Star Trek. Peace until next time, y'all. Comment, like, subscribe to the channel if you're not here. Peace.